Okay.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Okay, we'll call the meeting tonight. North Kingstown School Committee, December 14th, 2010. Would you all please rise for the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please read the roll.
Linda Avanzado. Mel Boyd Benson.
Here.
Larry Cerisi.
Here.
William Mudge.
Present.
Kimberly Page. Here. Joe Thompson. Richard Welch.
Here.
Julia Held. Here. Stephen Chevalier.
Here. Thank you. The clerk, please read the calendars.
Holiday recess begins and all school offices are closed on December 24th. On December 31st, all school offices are closed in observation of New Year's Day. January 7th is a policy subcommittee meeting, 9 a.m. Central Administration Building. There's a proposed joint meeting with the Town Council and the School Committee, time and location to be determined on January 10th. On January 11th is a school committee work session, 7 p.m. North Kingstown High School. January 12th is a wellness subcommittee meeting, 3:30 p.m. Central Administration Building. January 17th, no school and all school offices are closed for Martin Luther King Day. There's a proposed school committee budget meeting on January 18th. Time and location to be determined. January 25th is a school committee business meeting, 7 p.m. North Kingstown High School.
Thank you. Now we have a presentation. Sandy Blankenship and Diane Jellicoe, please step forward. I'm going to have to read from this. I hope you don't mind. Congratulations to you, Diane, for being named the 2010 NEARI Educational Support Professional of the Year. Diane has worked for our community diligently for 13 years to support special needs children throughout the district. Her hard work, dedication to the students, and support for our teachers has been recognized by this award. In addition to her work with the children, Diane has served us well in her efforts with the paraprofessional mentoring program and her work with the Professional Development Committee. We, all of us here in North Kingstown, thank you with the greatest of appreciation as we do all of the paraprofessionals and the non-certified staff. I want to congratulate you.
Just really want to thank everybody. It was a real pleasure to find out that I had even been nominated, never mind to have won this, and thank you very much. And thank you, Cindy.
Now I would like to call up the participants in the unified basketball?
Unified volleyball.
Volleyball, and present them with certificates. Please excuse me if I mispronounce the name. Olivia Donahue. Jamie Golden. Faith Chatwick. Charles Wolfendon. Did I say that okay? Okay. Kevin Hornrahan. Good job, Kevin. Andrew Burrows. Good job, Andrew. Funmi Richards.
Get the meeting.
Not here. Oren Todbox. Sure. The easy ones on here, right? Elena Suglia? Suglia. Good job. Lee Schwinder.
I feel much better, thank you. Congratulations.
George Halkidis, is it? Halkidis. I've never been, is that Greek? Yes, I've never been good with Greek names. Sam Finelli. Good job, thank you. Ashley Cardoz. Great job, Ashley. Garrett Buckland. Good job, Garrett.
Jesus, what the hell's happening?
And coaches, Vincent Carlo. I messed that up, didn't I? And Laura Horsley. Thank you, Laura. Go ahead, Larry.
I just wanted to thank the coaches, Laura and Vincent, for their volunteer efforts in helping put this together. The students, all of the students and staff and volunteers who assisted in putting this together. The parents for their commitment and volunteerism as well. This is North Kingstown's first unified team. It's a great accomplishment, a long time coming, and I'm very hopeful that we can build off of this and expand on this for next year and for other sports and activities as well. It's a great accomplishment, not only for the school district, but for the community to see peers mentoring other peers and making sure that they're involved and part of the great activities that we have. So, hats off to the students especially. It's really a great accomplishment and something that you guys should be very proud of, and I know I'm very proud of it. So, and I really hope we can expand on this next year as well. So thank you very much.
I can't get in either now.
Supposed to lay off employees.
It's presentations. Yeah. Okay, the next item on our agenda, the presentation of the NK High School Program of Studies is not complete and will be presented at a later date. We have a citizen sign-up sheet up front. Now time for citizens' comments. If there's anyone who wishes to talk, we limit the discussion on items to 3 minutes per individual. If there's anyone that wishes to talk at this time, please come up to the microphone. Not having anyone coming forward, we will continue on with our items. Next item is correspondence. Is there any correspondence? Anyone have any correspondence?
Yes, I do. Sorry, I'm just, I received correspondence, as we all did, from Norma Carraza, talking about our students who received the Music All-State Awards. And this year, the great thing about these awards is that we had 47 students, musicians, and other people who got into the All-States, and we had 9 of which were #1 in the state. I know that we're presenting these students with awards in the future, but I'll go through their names quickly. In Junior All-Star Mixed Chorus, we had singers Nina Diepenbrock, Kyla Johnson, who was rated #1, Dana Larkin, Savannah Martin, and Maggie McGee. In Junior All-State Orchestra, we had Megan Bamsford for bassoon, Mason Dubois for bass, Martha Edwards for viola, Catherine Levin for viola, Catherine Riley, who was #1 in violin, Megan Riley for cello, and Emma Vogel for tuba, who was also #1. In Junior State All-State Symphonic Band, we had Ann Yeager for flute. For Junior State All-Band Concert Band, we had Felix Torres for clarinet. For Senior All-State Chorus, we had singers Victoria Albin, Stephanie Anderson, Kaya Anderson, Ali Shabbat, Anna Comstock, Troy Crawford, Haley Freeberg, Michael Grenier, Miranda Harvey, Maddie Jenkins, Nick Jorgensen, Marina O'Brien, Lindsay Sampson, who was ranked #1, Sophie Sanchez, and Helena Teferi. For Senior All-State Chorus, we had Carrie Bender for violin, Troy Crawford for violin, Sam DeFriesny for viola, Olivia Edwards for cello, Daniel Gorlick for cello, Noah Yeager for violin, Brandon Kaplan for viola, Lindsay Cronick for cello, Nathan Riley for cello, Timmy Segoras for viola, and Andrew Winson for violin. For All-State Senior Band, we had Kai Colucci for snare, Jesse Ray Lynch for snare, Paul Spratini for #1 in trumpet, and Nick Tierney for #1 in baritone. And for Senior All-State Jazz Ensemble, we had Kai Colucci for #1 in drum set, Paul Spatrini for #1 in trumpet, and Andrew Winson, #1 in piano. So congratulations to those students for the tremendous job they did. I heard them at the beginning of this month, and they were great. And you can catch the chorus students on the 21st, Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
Anyone else? Mrs. Benson?
I would just like to remind the committee, we all got an invitation, but if you really want to get into the Christmas spirit, go to Ponesset Elementary School for their Christmas concert. They have 2 times to attend, 10:30 and 1:30 p.m., and it is indeed a joy to see how our students, with the limited amount that we have for the music and the arts, perform. And I will be attending either the 1:30 or the 10, most likely the 1:30. And it would be nice if you have a chance to go and see these students from 1K through 5 with their program. Thank you. And I also got some cards and things, but I really wanted to make the announcement about the concert, so if any of the public here would like to attend, they can also.
Thank you, Mrs. Benson. Is there anyone else with correspondence? Okay. The clerk, executive committee session votes.
All members were present for the second half of the executive session on November 23rd, except Douglas Roth. A motion unanimously passed to give the superintendent the authority to determine future placement for the student when the court-ordered program is completed. A motion unanimously passed to approve the superintendent's recommendation to suspend the student for the remainder of the 2000/2011 school year and authorize the superintendent to find an appropriate placement to meet the student's needs. A motion unanimously passed to seal the executive session minutes of November 23rd. A motion unanimously passed to adjourn executive session and go into open. All members were present for tonight's executive session except Linda Avanzato, Larry Cerisi, and Joe Thompson. A motion unanimously passed to go into executive session. A motion unanimously passed to seal tonight's minutes. A motion unanimously passed to adjourn executive session and go into open.
Thank you. Now we're going into the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any of the committee members wish to have taken off?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have C, H, and I. And the reason I'm saying C and I is because I don't think I can vote on those, so I could just handle those separately, I guess. And H, I have some comments on.
Okay. I should have prefaced this, that G will not be voted on tonight because we didn't get the presentation, so that will be taken off as well. Is there anyone else that wishes to have something taken off the consent agenda? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the remaining portion of the consent? I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Sure.
I didn't want to exempt this from the agenda, but we did approve the resignation under 4A of our clerk here tonight, Deb Jarrow, and just wanted to say thank you, Deb, for all the hard work you've done for our committee.
Some of us didn't approve of it. We just approved it. I will say for myself, and I think for the rest of the board, Deborah Jarrow for the past 2 years as the school committee's clerk has done a fantastic job for us. And I would like to give her a hand. She's a traitor. Go ahead, Mel.
I would be remiss if I didn't speak to Deborah. I'm going to miss you very much. Be honest. Was this little black thing put you out of business?
No, it was not.
They put us out of business.
Is that it? Are you all set, Mel?
Yeah, I just want to say, Deborah, you're going to be very much hard to replace.
Absolutely.
And that I have enjoyed working with you. You've always responded and everything. And when I read it, first thing I thought, for Apple to sell a computer and go into technology, that password is telling how many employees you can save. And when they say where you're going, I say, oh my God, here it is, this little black thing here.
Thank you, Mel.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the items that were pulled from the consent agenda, Bill, you had item C.
Yeah, I just can't vote on that, and I, so you probably want to take a separate vote, I guess.
I'll make a motion.
So moved. Second.
Pass C.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Item H, Bill?
Yeah, I'd like just to make a comment on that to ensure that we know what the approval of this recommendation is. I had the opportunity to meet with the committee and chairman last week, and it was a very good meeting, and amplified quite thoroughly, I think, a project to go forth with regarding the energy savings initiative that we have for the town. And I want to thank the committee members for the overview. And I can't say enough about the proposed recommendations. With that said, it's not a commitment to any particular project or anything like that, but the folks that spent the time to prepare this contract did an excellent job, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you. A motion to,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, that ends the consent agenda. No, it was C, H, and I. Bill, we voted on C and I. Okay, the next item is appointments for subcommittees. The first subcommittee for appointment of the school committee members would be policy. Do I have any volunteers for policy? Bill and Kim?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes, I would volunteer for policy anymore. I don't know if Linda is interested. I don't know if Joe is interested either.
Well,
Well, she beat me because I was going to recommend Kim Page.
That's what I was going to do. She's done an excellent job so far. I know she needs help with some of these new members.
is there much more left on policy?
Well, policy is one of those things of, while there isn't a whole lot to do in the present manual, there's only maybe 5 policies that we haven't really touched. It's one of those things of, there's always committees who come up, and just the other day, we had a group come before us to ask about a new parking policy. Dr. Auger is working with the teachers on a new grading policy. So there's always new policies that the school committee has to talk about. And it's looking at our old ones and seeing if we still need them and they're still relevant. So while
3 and 4.
it's one of those things that we can always be doing something. We don't meet as often as we used to. We used to meet twice a month, and now we only meet once a month because we don't have as much that we need to review anymore.
Okay, good.
Bill, I just have a question. Bill, were you nominating yourself or were you nominating me?
I was nominating you.
Okay.
Oh, but I put you on there, Bill.
Excuse me?
I put you on policy. But you raised your hand.
Well, why don't we change that to
You don't want to be on that?
there's a couple others I'm interested in, I think, and would
Right,
be...
well, maybe we can get Joe to sit on that meeting, on that committee. The next one is wellness. Kim, you want to be on it?
You know, I've done wellness before, and I know that the committee said to me that they'd be more than happy to have me back. So,
They voted on that?
no, they didn't vote on it, and they don't really get a vote. But I'd be more than happy to continue with that.
Could I nominate Kim Page for Wellness Committee?
Sure. Does anyone else want to be on wellness? Debbie, you're not going to be doing anything. Would you like to be on wellness? Okay. The next one is Facilities Management and Planning Subcommittee. I've served on that for the last 2 years. I would like personally to stay with it so that we can continue the work that we're doing. Is there anyone else that would like to be on it as well?
Yeah, I'd support you on that.
I support you on that. We'll keep continuity, and you've done an excellent job.
Okay, so there's no one else that wants to be on facilities? Okay. My screen just went blank. All right, the next one is consolidation of services. This is co-chaired with the town. Currently, Charlie Stam is the town council's representative on this, and I have also been the representative on it from the school committee. Is there someone else that would like to serve on consolidation of services?
I'd
Yes,
volunteer.
I would. I'd volunteer.
No? And what are you saying, Bill?
I'd volunteer for that also.
We don't need, how many do you usually have?
One. And then we have outside, we have public that's on it.
Do we get to name a person from the public?
They were already on.
They're already on it. No.
They're already on it.
Bill?
As being chair of the school committee, doesn't that give you the permission to be a non-voting member of all committees?
Yes.
Well, will you continue to give your input?
Absolutely.
Well, I would still like to be on that one.
Okay, well, it's going to have to be between you and Bill. One of you are going to have to come off because it's a co-chair situation. One person from each, the town council and the school committee. The consolidation committee has no power. It is purely
I
a
understand that. I
recommendation.
was here when it was all organized. Okay, I will give in to Mr. Mudge, and I'll volunteer for transportation of students with special needs.
Okay, great. Anyone else for transportation of special needs? Okay. Item number 6 is school committee liaisons. Cozy. Anyone want to be the liaison with, for Cozy?
I'll volunteer for that if no one else.
Okay.
That's in my, with federal money, I don't think we'll have that much longer,
All right, the next
from
one.
what I read in the paper.
The next one is legislative, state, and federal programs with the Rhode Island Association of School Committees. I've been going to that quite regularly. I don't know if anybody else would like to go. Bill?
Dick, what does that role entail?
Well, really,
I'll volunteer.
anyone that's on the school committee can go to those meetings. Okay? So,
As I say, I know I was going to be going to some of the meetings where they
I've
talked about the
attended
new
some of the
graduation
meetings.
requirements.
yeah,
I attend the meeting on,
okay. We need a liaison for links. I don't know who covered links before.
I think it was April.
who?
Larry thinks it was April. I wonder,
I was going to say, it was either her or Linda. Which one's, Linda was a liaison member. Was she a liaison member to Lynx or CLEC?
I think it was,
were you CLEC?
It was Select.
Yeah, Larry was CLEC, Linda
Okay.
might have been Links. I'll put Linda's name down for the time
Yes,
being and see
I
if I
think it
can't
was
talk
her
her into
for
doing
Lynx.
that. Will you do CLEC? Larry?
Sure.
I'd also
And the
like to
last one
serve
is,
on that. Mr. Wells,
I'm sorry, what?
in mind with the Special Needs Subcommittee, I'd also like to serve on Special Education Advisory Committee also. Those two are correlated, if it's
Okay.
not too much. Is it okay with you, Mr. Cerisi, that you have one in case you can't make it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There can be up to 3.
Okay.
And the last one is the NEANK liaison.
Dick, could I just ask a question? Was it, Kim, was Kim going to be the liaison, the rep for the school committees? Did you want that, Kim? I wasn't sure.
Oh, the RIASC?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. You asked a
No,
question.
not particularly. I mean, if you'd like to do that, Bill, I don't have it. I'm just saying that it's the sort of thing of, I'll be going to some of the meetings when they talk about the graduation requirements.
Well,
I've been trying to keep those on my agenda.
If that's the case, then fine, and I'd be glad to do the NE8 if you want it. So you determine, or anybody else, what they'd like to have there.
So we'll put you down as the NEAK?
If Kim would like to be the rep for the Association of School Committees.
Okay.
And I can always talk to Joe, and if there's anything that, we can ask Joe if there's anything that he would like to jump in here on, and Linda too.
Okay, good. All right, so moving on to the next item, designation of authorized signatories. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. The next item is a standard item on the agenda, is the CIP, existing bond, future bond, the North Kingstown High School ventilation, and Noresco. Who's handling that? Ned?
Consistent with the prior approval, when we met with Noresco, we also brought up a topic that came up with the Facilities Management Subcommittee, which was to look at the ventilation for the high school. The recommendation from the committee was that while air conditioning looks like it will not be economically feasible, we do want to look at other alternatives for keeping the space cool. One of the things we asked of Noresco was to take a look at this as part of their energy management and energy investment grade audit efforts to see if there's something that they can plug into the projects to help us with that. Mr. John Koppinen with Noresco is here, and he said that is something that they can look at as part of our project.
So we'd be doing that rather than hiring a separate consultant to do that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we asked that while we were talking about this project.
Okay, and the other item is the vote on the Noresco itself.
Yeah, we passed that. Correct.
Okay, so that's all taken care of. so we don't need to approve anything.
I just wanted to make the committee aware that we were looking at that issue.
Dick, could I just ask for clarification on that, please? It said existing bond, there's no financial commitment to this right now. This is just a study, right?
Yeah, no, this has been a kind of a placeholder on every agenda,
Okay.
so that we could discuss things that would come up on future bonds, existing bonds, or the CIP for the school district.
So this is basically going to be pushed back to the, pushed over to the facility committee to look at that.
Right.
Good, thank you.
And the facility committee has already done an on-site inspection of the facility to make sure that air conditioning is not an alternative. Ventilation is really where we're at this point.
Yeah, I think the quality of air and everything else is really important. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the next item is policies, JFAA. Kim?
All right, I'm just pulling this up on my, I'm trying to remember where this is.
First
what
thing.
this- The first thing?
List, yeah.
Okay, my first thing is the wellness charge. So, I have the computer usage. Is it called something else, Deb?
The computer usage is the
Admission of
second one.
students. Admission of
Oh, yeah.
non-resident or resident students.
First
Might be above, scroll down, it might be on the page above.
Maybe it's on the information, didn't know.
It's called admission of resident students.
Admission of resident students.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in my attachment. I know I've looked at it.
Would there be an objection to put
Okay.
that off for one meeting?
All right, so, oh yes, here, I remember it. This is basically, the only change that we're, and I'll get to your question, Bill. The only change that we're making on here is that we're stating in the policy statement, the North Kingstown School District reserves the right to require appropriate documentation requiring residency prior to admission. And what our point is there is that we're changing around our forms sometimes as to, and but we're also trying to keep it in with the law as to making sure that a student really does live within North Kingstown. And so some of the things that we've traditionally asked for is perhaps a utility bill or something along that line. The form has changed from time to time, and so this is what we're putting in the policy is that we will be asking for some sort of documentation when you come in to claim residency in order to be part of the North Kingstown School District. And that it's a safeguard to make sure that only North Kingstown students are going to our school, because if we have students from other areas, then they might be subject to a fee if we had the space available. And so that's why we put the language in there. It's not specific as to what we want because, again, that could be changing as to if somebody came in with a bill that was different than we normally took, then we have to, instead of turning them away, we may say, oh, no, that will be okay because that still shows proof of residency. But we didn't want to be so specific that we were turning people away if they came with the water bill and we required the electric bill. So that's why, obviously, the list could change from time to time, and it's posted on our website as to what the list is. But that's the only change that's made in there. Any questions?
I personally didn't have an opportunity to look at that, so I don't have any comments. I was referring to the next one.
But that's the only change in the whole policy.
That's the only change in the whole policy. So if there's no questions about that, I make a motion to approve policy FAA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Vote is unanimous in favor.
Okay. The next policy on our agenda is not one that we're voting on tonight. I have that one.
Good.
Why I can't find the other one, I don't know. The next one is a new policy. And so tonight is just the first read, and we will not be voting on it tonight. We will be talking about it, and then after this read, We have it on our agenda again, probably at our January meeting, and if we haven't made any changes and the committee is still accepting of that, then that will be something that we will approve at that time. What this is, is by federal government law, because we get certain federal money, and also because of the internet that we use and the filtering that we use, we need to have this policy on our books. And this is something that the federal government requires. And so we basically looked at what the requirements were by the government to have some sort of a filtering policy and a usage policy, and we copied almost verbatim as to what this policy should be looking like. Even the purpose was pretty much of, obviously, it didn't say North Kingstown. That was what we added. But other than that, everything on here is what is required for us to have as a child protection and or child internet protection policy. And so that's why what the federal government calls it is SIPA. And we have that underneath, but it's also our internet and computer usage policy. So are there questions, things that people don't like about this policy, things that people are going to want to see, questions, as this is just the first read tonight?
I had a couple questions, and I'll document them and send them on to you, from an email standpoint. I don't have the policy in front of me, but a couple of things did kind of bother me a little bit, and I think it was something that read to the extent that if you were over 17, and a student wanted to have the restricted, online removed, then he has a right to do that.
Well, he can always request it. We don't have to agree on his request.
Okay, and there was one that was under 16, there was some, yeah, I'm sorry.
It mentions that that's in the event that the filter erroneously blocks access to the site, like an unintended consequence of the filter. It's a legitimate site, but
there were two provisions in there, I think, one for 16 and one for 17-year-old.
Yes.
And then there was
Part number
one,
9.
Right.
and then there was one that pertained to the library. And I was kind of confused on it, basically saying that in the library also, the use of filters is treated separately than necessarily the use of the individual computers in the school. And I didn't really understand why and the reasoning and.
Well, the thought is that you may have a student who goes to the library to do some research on a particular topic, and perhaps our filters block out them having access to a site, and it would be a site that would be very much appropriate for their paper that they're doing. Perhaps they're doing their senior project. And so what the policy then allows them to do is to go up to the library staff and say, I'm being blocked from this site. I need to get to this site for my research paper because da-da-da-da-da. The library staff could then look and say, oh, okay, well, for some reason you're being filtered out because this is a pretty thorough filter,
right.
And then allow to override that filter so that student could get the research done. And so that's what this gives us. It doesn't do a whole block of every single person for all reasons.
No.
It allows the library staff to individually assess as to why that's being, and to override the filter if need be.
No, once the filter is overridden, then the student can bring up anything?
No, it would just be the site that they've written, asked
To get online.
to access, yeah.
Okay, and then will there be any sort of a record kept in terms of all the kids coming up and asking for permission and then something written so that it's documented that in class or in the library they did have access and it was, authorized? I'm not sure it's needed, but I'm just asking the question.
I think that's implied in the fact that the student has to do it in writing.
Oh,
I know that that Rich Booth also asked that whenever overrides are done, that he's notified about that.
yeah. Okay, I just some of the comments, and I'll get back to you on my other ones.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else under policy.
Okay, so there's no action tonight, it's
No.
just the first read?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item is the Jamestown contract. This item has been withdrawn and will be back on the agenda for our January 12th? Is it the 12th? 11th? 11th, okay. Right.
Except,
Say again?
except for the motion that needs to be made to authorize you to sign the extension to the memorandum of agreement.
So I need a motion to that effect, please.
So moved.
Need a second. Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carried unanimously. Thank you.
Did you read the motion? I'm not sorry.
The motion was to give the chair the ability to
Authorization
sign.
to sign the extension to the memorandum
Okay, I'm
of
sorry.
agreement.
I was thinking another one.
The next item is item for Sirico. Marianne, are you going to present that?
Yes. Basically, the superintendent is recommending that North Kingstown withdraw from being in Sirico. Basically, and I'm going to turn to Phil to ask for his input, the superintendent and the assistant superintendent are finding that right now they're not giving us any services that we can't give ourselves. There's a concern that there could be continual deficits because right now the executive director has resigned. They're having trouble making payroll. And Phil, I need you to fill in some of the details.
You know, over the years, Sirico has had a lot of different functions, and in the past year or so, they've really been kind of looking for a function, which kind of tells you a little bit about the state of things. What North Kingstown has been working with Sirico on over the past few years is primarily professional development. The Sirico districts, especially the districts like Block Island and Exeter West Greenwich, who are smaller districts, like having this community to work with because when you do professional development, they may not have a contingent that really can handle a major professional development item on their own, and they like, you know, working things out with other communities, kind of at a volume discount type of thing. North Kingstown really doesn't have that need. We are the biggest district in Sirico, and there really isn't anything that being a part of that professional development group that we can't do for ourselves. So we just don't see the need at this point.
Additionally, according to the bylaws, we would need to withdraw 6 months before June 30th. Or if we did not withdraw this evening, then we would still be a member for another year and a half. It would go to June 30th of 2012. So what the superintendent is looking for is a motion to withdraw our membership in Sirico, but at the same time reserve the right to revoke this withdrawal if new information becomes available between now and June 30th.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure I have a clarification. It's my understanding from talking to Dr. Thornton that we have paid all of our dues for the year. Am I correct on that, Mr. Draper?
As far as I know, we're current.
So it's a sort of thing of if they close up mid-year, we're not getting our money back either. Am I correct? I mean, we've paid our money in, but we don't get the services out.
Correct.
And if we withdraw ahead of time, we may be basically getting out of any more money that they come looking for if they are going into any sort of arrears before the end of the year.
We're still responsible for any monies that are owed to them between now and June 30th. But if you don't make the motion to get out now, we're going to have another year and a half of possible potential debt. And the fact of the matter is, last week I think they notified they were having trouble making payroll, things like that. So it's a matter of they're not providing us services. They seem to be going into debt. They don't have any services to offer. The executive director has resigned. So it's, again, the superintendent's opinion that at this point we should be withdrawing from the membership in Sirico.
Just one quickie. You pointed out that they're still doing some things in-service training, and I just wondered if we drop Sirico, is there a plan to, like a plan B to cover that?
The latest work that we have done has been discussions about how we would participate together with Race to the Top training that RIDE is organizing. those discussions are not anything that we can't do on our own anyway. In fact, I am part of a group of assistant superintendents that meet on a regular basis to talk about how we could collaborate on that kind of training. So we really don't need Sarico to do that for us. It's a relationship between our districts and the Department of Education. So I don't really see us losing out on anything. As far as the dues issue, whatever services that we can get from Sarico, we're still in for the rest of the year, even with this vote tonight. So, you know, we could still participate if anything were to come up that, you know, we can use them for. We'd have access to all of that for the remainder of the year. That wouldn't change.
Okay. Mel?
On the recommendation of the superintendent and the information that has been provided, I make a motion that we separate from Sarico. It's plain and simple, and that the letter will be written according to the way we discussed it and the wording that he has in it. And I'd just like to say this. To get out now, I think we're being very, very safe. Very safe. And that was what I expressed in the meeting. So my motion is to terminate our relationship with Sarico based on the superintendent's recommendation.
And at the same time, I think your motion, if you said the wording, you're going to reserve the right to revoke this withdrawal if new information were to become available before June 30th.
Yes, those were his suggestions, wasn't it? And
That's correct.
what I meant when I say all of the superintendent's recommendations.
I'll second that, since I was over here saying to Mel that this is what the language I was looking for.
Okay.
The,
Is there any discussion?
just one quickie, Dr. Ogier. Essentially, what you've really said in the simple terms is, you know, our service needs are being provided within our community, and we really don't need what's, you know, been presented at Sarico.
Yes.
The programs. So we're fully covered. Our plan B is, you know, we're taking care of business in-house.
Yes.
Good.
That's what I'm saying.
Good.
We don't need, we got more than that.
Okay. With no other discussion, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the next item is the Information Technology RFP. If you go to your email, you should see a document from the Consolidation Committee regarding the IT consultant.
Should give us a done sticker. Can you just give us a second, Dave?
Yep, I need it as well.
There we go. It's done. So now we want to go.
IT consultant recommendation?
Yep.
It's
Dated,
right there.
I'll just read it so that it's in the record. Dated December 14th, 2010, to the Town Council and the School Committee from the Consolidation Committee, approval of consultant for the IT study. In October, the Consolidation Committee published an RFP for an IT consultant to perform a review of the town's and school departments' IT departments. The school committee received 8 proposals, each of which it reviewed and ranked on 5 elements: references, capacity, performance, ability, and cost. The proposed costs range from $24,000 to over $99,000. After vigorous review and discussion, the committee unanimously selected the firm of Ellert and Associates, headquartered in St. Paul, Minneapolis, with several offices around the country, including New Haven, Connecticut. The fee proposed by Ellert and Associates is $36,000 plus expenses not to exceed 12% of the fee, or approximately $40,000 total. The committee recommends your approval of the firm of Ellert and Associates to perform this review and the fee approximately $40,000 to be split equally between the town and the school department. Although initial references are satisfactory, the committee is awaiting others and will not formally accept the LRT bid until it completes the final review of references, which will be done by the town manager and the superintendent, and presented their recommendation to the consolidation committee. So what we're looking for tonight is for a vote to approve based on this recommendation from the consolidation committee, the employment of Ellert and Associates to do the review of the IT departments for both the town and the school department. Can I have a motion, please?
Dick, I know you've done a lot of work on this, and it's been going on for some period of time. Personally, I haven't had an opportunity to look at the contract myself, and I just wonder if we could get like a week's extension or something on this so we could comment on whatever the town council approve. That shouldn't mean that it's not good or anything else, but I just can't, personally, I would have to abstain on that because I have no idea what's in that.
Okay. Are there any other comments?
Yes, I have one.
Mel?
The comment I would like to ask is, this IT department, will it be working with the town, or will be the school separate, only we're using the same consultant?
Well, the idea is that both departments will be reviewed equally, and recommendations would be made as to whether, if any, or all of IT can be consolidated. Do we have the right personnel? Do the personnel need existing training? Do we have the right hardware? Do we have the right software? Should we be doing outplacement of certain parts of our IT? It's a complete and thorough examination, if you will, of both departments. It is my feeling that whatever recommendations are made for the school department, this committee will review and decide which ones, if any, they want to do. And I would expect that the town council would be doing the same thing. It's really an outside consultant's look. The way the RFP was written, it was written to say that if you had done any business whatsoever with the town or the school department in any fashion during the years, that you were not eligible to be hired. We did not want anyone that had sold any equipment to the schools or the town. We didn't want anyone that sold software or services. We wanted truly someone to do the job that had no, let me say, dog in the show. It was to be an arm's length situation, so it was purely objective with no one in mind. No soul to protect, no item to protect, and nothing to be sold to us.
Well, in saying that, I would like to compliment you for the way that you went in it, and it's a good idea. You said no dog in the show, no soul in the show, and so forth. But before I can go along with a consultant, I think that, do you have the RFP from the consultant that you're planning on having?
The RFP came from our school department.
That's what I mean, but do you have his response to the RFP? I'm sorry, I'm not technical. You see, you have to go along with me, just a simple taxpayer.
All of the people that replied to the RFP, their proposals were to complete the tasks outlined in the RFP.
I don't think I've seen the RFP. Could we postpone this?
You've seen the RFP. It came before this committee for
It
approval
did?
so that it could go out to bid.
Maybe I did, but to spend that kind of money for a consultant in these times,
$20,000 is what we're spending.
will they be recommending consolidation with business between the town? I don't want to do anything that's going to further have two systems for anything between the town and the school when we can work with consolidation.
That is the point of having the consultant come in, is to give us a reading on on the IT departments individually and see what, if anything, can be consolidated between the two.
Dick, does the in terms of the RFP going out, in terms of now the reps between the towns, are they still going to be on top of this, basically making it happen, like you were on there before to drive this thing through?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the committee, our committee reps still have the ability to get in there, make sure it's happening, drive it, bring it to a conclusion.
It is part of the RFP that they have to work with the Consolidation Committee.
Okay, good. That's why I haven't seen any of that stuff
For
yet.
direction,
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
And to communicate with the Consolidation Committee, especially if there's an area where maybe they're not getting the kind of cooperation they need.
Okay, good. See, that's why I'm not seeing it.
And you had something to say?
Yeah, but Mr. Cerisi has had his hand up.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cerisi?
Mr. Chairman, based on the discussions that the school committee has had on this agenda item at prior meetings and based on the recommendation of the consolidation subcommittee, I would make a motion to approve this recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Yes, I'll give you the second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Kim?
Yeah, I look at this as the next step that we need to take, because we've been talking round and round about consolidation with the town for a long time, and this will truly do the study that we need to have to decide what needs to be consolidated and what doesn't need to consolidate. I mean, it may come back that they say everything needs to be consolidated, or they may come back and say nothing, or at least giving us an educated way of saying this can, but this cannot. And the nice thing is we're also getting, it sounds like a company that hasn't dealt with either the town or the school before. So it's the sort of thing, we don't have to say, oh, they have a bias and they're strictly going to be following everything the school committee says, or vice versa. So, this is, and you answered one of my questions because I was wondering about the cost. And so from what I've heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we pay half, the town pays half.
Exactly.
So this is one of those things that if we want to truly move forward with this, and we truly want to say, okay, just what can we consolidate and what can't we need to have the study done prior. And then from there, we can make the educated decisions as to what things can be consolidated and what things can't. So this is just that first step. We don't have to follow anything in the report, but at least the report will be as much as possible an unbiased report of an outside company coming in to look at the things that can and can't be done. So I'll be supporting the motion.
So,
Joe Thompson?
Just two small ones. One is I noticed the minimum bid was 16,000. It was 24,000. So we're kind of going 16,000 above the minimum. I just wanted to have a little hear about that.
I think that Ned can address this better, and I'm probably going to say it incorrectly, but I'll make an attempt at it, Ned. According to the guidelines that we have to use, price is not the primary consideration, and that's why in what Councilman Stam wrote in the consolidation's recommendation was there were, I think, 5 characteristics that were included in it. It was not just price, capacity, and so forth, and they all had to be graded based on the information that each one of the people that replied to the RFP provided to the committee. I will tell you that this company has a long list of both municipal and school districts that they have done work for, which was one of the important criteria because a lot of the people that responded were strong in one area and weak in another. And this one had the most balanced experience to look at both. So, that weighed heavily in their favor.
Okay. And as it's written, the RFP is written, when they give us this report, assuming they say, yes, go ahead, is there going to be everything in the report so that we can actually use that as a blueprint to go forward?
It calls for, if they, there are steps in it, and we'll get you a copy of it so you can see how thorough the RFP is. Okay. It calls for flow charts and all kinds of things. Depends upon what their recommendation is, what they then have to go to the next step to provide. I think you'll find that it's pretty conclusive.
Fine. Thank you.
Mrs. Benson?
So I suppose that with not considering money in your past words and what you just said, and we're going in with the town, will we be holding up the town? Have they approved this?
They will be approving it on Thursday. They were supposed to approve it last night, but it was not included in their package or advertised correctly. They are having an executive committee meeting Thursday night, of which the first part of that meeting will be public for the purposes of voting on this. But we expect that they will be voting in favor of it as well.
Are you ready for the motion?
No, we already have a motion. So
Okay.
now we've had a motion and a second. May I have all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to abstain myself. Just because I haven't read it, that's all.
2, 3, 4.
411.
411.
Alice, no.
Say again?
Bill is abstaining.
Mel was no, Bill was abstained. Right.
Or yes. One
Four,
no,
one,
one
one.
abstain.
Okay.
You either want it or you don't want it. Why are you abstaining?
I don't know what I'm voting on.
That was the reason I wasn't voting.
That's fine.
Okay. The
Before
next
I do-
item is the 2010-2011 school budget.
We don't have anything to
We
report.
don't have
at this
anything to
time.
report tonight. Kim?
Mr. Chairman, do we want to go back to any of the committee assignments to ask Mr. Thompson if there's any particular committee that he would like to serve on?
Oh, I put him on dog catcher. He's not, you don't want to be on dog catcher, Joe?
Anything to do with food?
We don't have a food subcommittee, Joe.
Wellness.
Let me see.
That's true, but we won't be talking
You
about
two have
dog
worked
food.
good together on dog catcher, you and the chairman.
Oh, let me get to where that is on the agenda.
I think you've got a personnel management or personnel policies subcommittee that would interest me.
There you go.
That'd be more the policy subcommittee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're still looking for people in that.
There you go.
All right, so he'll be on policy with you. Okay, was there anything else, Joe, that interests you?
Just anything to do with the budget.
Well, we don't have a budget subcommittee at this point in time.
Is there any reason why that wasn't on our agenda? I should have asked that earlier.
We really
but-
didn't have one last year?
Right, but I think that that's by policy, that the two subcommittees that we're supposed to have are both the policy committee and the budget committee.
Well, I'm sure we can form one. You want to form a policy, a subcommittee on the budget?
And do that. We need to do it. for
Yes,
next
we would need
meeting.
to,
Say
we
again?
need to advertise it again.
Need to do it in the next meeting?
But
Okay.
yes, like I said, under policy, it's one of the two policies, standing committees that we're always supposed to have. And I apologize that I didn't realize it when I looked at our agenda earlier, that I didn't pick up that it hadn't been on there. I would have said something earlier.
Kim. Debbie, could you please make a note to have that on the next budget, on the next agenda, please? Okay,
And she put it on the agenda, will it be listed under, like we do?
just like we listed it here.
But if time is running short, you know, we have for discussion and voting. It would be listed that way because we have to have a budget. When is the time for the budget to the preliminary budget?
February 15th, I think?
For the town?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm also concerned because we have, the calendar says that there is,
Is it 15th or the 20-some?
The 10th. You have a budget meeting on the 10th with the town, and then your next meeting is the 11th.
Yeah, but then we have, we put in two budget
The
dates
18th, you have a budget.
and one in February.
Right.
And then
15th is when we typically deliver our budget to
Yeah.
the town.
The meeting with the town won't be to discuss the budget?
I guess that's what they're probably going to want to give us direction on the budget.
Well, shouldn't we have a
Do
committee
that
by
by
then?
law. You have to have the budget meeting with the town by statute. That's on the 10th.
Yes, that's by statute.
That's
and
on the
town
10th of
charter.
January,
Uh-huh.
and you don't need a committee for that. Everybody goes. And then on the 11th, when you meet again, you can appoint your subcommittee.
Meeting with the town is the 12th?
10th.
10th.
10th, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay.
10th is the town, the 11th is here,
Right.
Well,
or wherever we are.
high school.
So we will appoint the budget committee on the 11th?
Yep.
Okay.
And it'll be under unfinished business because it's appointment to subcommittees.
Okay. Unfinished business, appointment to subcommittees.
Yes.
Just want to make sure we don't violate any open meeting law by not advertising it correctly.
Okay. Kim?
Mary Ann, my question about that would be that I believe under our policy that we always have the standing budget committee. It's one of our standing committees. It's like the policy committee. So this was just merely putting people on that committee. So we could still, if Dr. Thornton wanted to get and Mr. Draper wanted to get together on the budget committee, they could advertise the subcommittee meeting, and as long as we didn't have over 3 people on the committee that were there.
That's correct.
So we could do that in between now and our January meeting, and I think as long as we then make sure that only the committee members who are going to come, we only have 3 committee members there, that we can still have the subcommittee meet.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
acceptable? Okay.
I'll make sure that I talk to Dr. Thornton about setting that up, because that can be done. I mean, we have to advertise, but we only have to advertise on the Secretary of State's website, so it's not nearly as onerous, and it's something that we can do between now and then, as long as we make sure that we have everything followed and have it opened up.
So who would like to be in that meeting?
Well, I don't think we can talk about that right
What we're going to
now.
do is whoever shows up, as long as you don't have more than 3, you're all
Okay.
set.
All right.
And what time will it be?
We'll have
Up
to
to
ask
Dr.
Dr. Thornton
Thornton.
and Mr. Draper. I mean, they can see what their schedule accommodates.
Okay. And then we will have some idea of what we need and not just go to the town council blank.
Right.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Good. Moving on. The next item is special reports. Are there any special reports tonight? Any standing or subcommittee reports?
I can report that the Wellness Committee has put out a new parent newsletter, and we have that up on the website, that if you go on the website, it now says the December Wellness Newsletter for all parents. We have distributed the one out to the staff, and we also have 3 students who are going to be joining our wellness meeting when we meet in January.
Anything else?
I'd just like to congratulate the basketball team on their victory over Hendricken last night. 3 cheers for NK.
Great. Any ad hoc committee reports? I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
This meeting is adjourned.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I voted in favor of it. Yeah. Okay, great.
We haven't yet met. I'm duly held. I'm Jamestown Metropolitan. Saw you this morning.
Well, my first meeting, I was working up